What's going on, everyone? So the Los Angeles Lakers have several options that they're exploring via trade, right? Keep preaching patience. Patience is a virtue. Got to remain patient. A lot can happen between now and October. A lot of different possibilities. Right now, everyone's asking price for everybody is extremely high. As you get closer to the actual season, those prices start coming down. Will they come down enough to where the Lakers start making moves? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it plays out. But you see it every year. It's we want 12 firsts for this guy, and then you get ready to get into the season and it's like, all right, we'll take one. All right, fine, we'll take 2 seconds, right? Like the price just drops because once you start getting close to training camp and everything, teams want to get their roster intact. Teams want to get their players and everything in order so that way they know what the shape of it should look like for the season. And the Lakers are active in trying to talk to Utah about potentially a Walker Kessler deal. Maybe you get a Colin Sexton in the deal. Utah also has the potential to just kind of take on salary from us. So maybe you can work something out for a salary dump to free up roster spots and free up like the mid-level or the taxpayer mid-level exception. I mean, even could get to the mid-level. But point is that you have these options and these flexibilities. But if all else fails, I still really like the idea of the Chicago Bulls. Still really like the idea of, taking on Zach Lavine, getting an asset, raising the ceiling, clearing roster spots. I mean, Zach Lavine by himself solves a lot of the Lakers' issues, right? Again, you clear roster spots. You might even be able to dump some extra salary because remember, the Lakers can't take back extra salary. They have to give up more than they could take. So you might be able to clear up the taxpayer mid-level, bring back Zach Lavine, clear, 3 or 4 roster spots, which then you can bring in several pieces, right? You have like Gary Trent Jr., who's linked to the Lakers. You have Spencer Dinwiddie, especially if you trade D'Lo. Spence could easily slot into that D'Lo role, kind of be your point guard and playmaker. Like that could be valuable. And now you got some athleticism, some more size, some little versatility, right? There's options and flexibility there. Not just that, but Zach Lavine would be a perfect fit. He's one of the best catch and shoot shooters in the league. He's a guy that could go and get an absolute bucket, applies rim pressure. His defense isn't as bad as people make it out to be. He's not elite or great by any stretch of the imagination, but when he's locked in and engaged, he can be a very good defensive player. And he just would be a guy that would be a true ceiling raiser for the Lakers. And on top of that, Chicago's willing to give up assets to basically unload Zach Lavine. Now, question is like how far will Chicago go, right? I think a lot of that pertains to the market. Now, I don't think you're going to get 2 firsts and, a pick swap and all this stuff to get Zach Lavine, obviously, right? Like it's got to be within reason. Right now, the Chicago Bulls want to give up the 2 seconds that they got in the DeMar trade. That's their ideal scenario. I don't know. Like there were reports that Chicago was shopping Lavine with a first and teams weren't biting, right? So I don't see teams going like, oh, instead of a first, yeah, we'll gladly take 2 seconds. I don't think that would be enticing enough. And if you're the Lakers, there's a couple things you're trying to do, right? There's this constant balance just based on what has been relayed, right? The Lakers want to develop and start building like a real program of young talent that can be kind of the next wave. And they also want to compete now. They also want to get guys that can help now. So, yes, getting assets, first round picks, second round picks, things like that would be great. But I also would rather get a young player and prospect attached to it that is already relatively proven, right? And that's where I think, can you get Ayo from the Chicago Bulls, right? Can you go and get Zach Lavine and convince them to give you Ayo as instead of like a first, right? Can you get Ayo and 2 seconds or something like that, right? Like I look at the Chicago Bulls, right? They traded for Josh Giddey. So you got Giddey and you got Kobe White. That's your point guard and your shooting guard, right? On top of that, they have several other guards on their roster. So, and they need to figure out what are they going to do with Lonzo Ball, right? Like, so with this kind of influx of like shooting guards and point guards and just guards in general, right? Like, would Chicago be more inclined to unload Ayo and maybe work out some type of deal to where you could get him and a second or him and 2 seconds, or even if you're just getting him back instead of the first. Now you could argue, okay, the first you can use as a package to go trade, but like what players are you trading at that point, right? Like, so you're going to do a Bulls trade, right? You're going to get Zach Lavine and an asset, right? You're going to have to give up at least, probably D'Lo, Rui, and can you convince them to take Gabe Vincent, right? If they do something like that, okay, now you unload those 3 guys, right? That would give them basically 2 more guards, right? So it makes sense to kind of get back a guard. But even if you do, let's say you do those 3, right? D'Lo, Rui, Gabe Vincent, right? Maybe you throw in a Jalen Hood-Schifino or something like that, right? To just kind of clear salary, clear roster spots. Also, if you were to add a guy in Ayo, like you would have to, he has $7 million in salary. So now you're talking like roughly $50 million in salary. So D'Lo and Rui get you to like 35, just under 36. You add in Gabe Vincent, right? That gets you to what, 47, right? 47 million, a little more. If you throw in a Jalen Hood-Schifino, then that clears what you would need to get both guys, right? So you're basically doing a 4-for-2 swap. You clear up 2 roster spots, which then you could bring in, a Gary Trent Jr., or you could bring in a Spencer Dinwiddie. And then now you got a 24-year-old who has shown real promise on both sides of the basketball. And yes, he hasn't really gotten a chance to be a significant focal point. Like, what can he really provide? You got to keep in mind, he played behind DeMar DeRozan, Zach Lavine, Kobe White's emergence, right? Like, he's kind of been this afterthought. And if you're the Lakers and you're unloading, like right now, I wouldn't make any sense, right? Because you have so many guards. You're flushed with guards yourself, right? Lakers have, like I said, Jalen Hood-Schifino, Bronny James. They have Austin Reeves, D'Angelo Russell, Gabe Vincent, or I think I already said Jalen. But point is, like, they have like 7 guards, and that's not counting Connect and Christie, and right, that's not counting the 2 guards. So right now, it wouldn't make sense to go get him, but if you were to unload, like I said, Jalen Hood-Schifino, D'Angelo Russell, Gabe Vincent, so on and so forth, and you start unloading 2, 3, 4 guards, well, now it does make sense to go get another guard or 2. Now it does make sense to maybe take a flyer on an Ayo, right? Like, and now you're getting a Zach Lavine who can slot in at your 2. You're getting an Ayo who can come off the bench and be that scorer, be that playmaker, play some defense, kind of provide some point of attack. He's 24 years old, so there's still plenty of room, plenty of upside. He's a guy that has shown that he can ball, that he can actually play the game of basketball. To me, I just think that would be more valuable for the Lakers now and the long run than getting a first that, yes, depending on the first, but Chicago's probably not giving you one of their like unprotected firsts, right? Like, because they're kind of rebuilding, right? So they're going to want to be very reluctant, and that's why they want to give away the seconds that they got in the DeMar trade. And so to me, it's like, okay, so let's say you get a top 10 protected first. Like at that point, you're hoping best case to get a guy like Ayo, right? Like that best case, you're hoping to get somebody that can come in and, he gives you 12, 4, and 4 basically, or whatever, like in that ballpark, right? Like you're better off getting that. He just shot 40% from 3 last season on like just a hair under, I think it was like 4 attempts. So getting a guy that like showed that he can shoot, he can make plays, he can get to the rim, play some defense, right? To me, it's like your hope at like the 15th pick is to get a guy like him. So to me, it's like if you can already get a guy like him, get him under your banner, get him already worked out and developed and grow under these players, right? The idea is that you want to try to find that next piece or 2, right? Like that's the whole point. Get all these young players, you develop them, you grow, right? You 2 or 3 become quality rotation pieces, right? Like, use Bronny as an example. You're hoping that like Bronny can be a legit like 3-and-D point guard that can be your point of attack, do the dirty work, do the hustle plays, right? Not necessarily a superstar, not an all-star, just like you need the dirty work, like an Alex Caruso type guy. Not saying that he'll be Alex Caruso, but I'm saying that mold of like he can defend the best player on the other team, at the guard position, does the dirty work, won't play out of position, won't try to do too much sass, basically could slot in and fit in on any team, right? You're hoping one or two guys become that, and you're hoping that one or two guys, say, like a Max Christie. You're hoping Max Christie emerges and becomes like a legit, like two-way star level player where you can put the ball on the deck, go get a, like I don't know, like an undersized Paul George, right? Again, talking like ceiling, right? Like you're hopeful that happens. Right? And if you could get a guy in an IO that can come in and he can kind of maybe have that potential upside to where now maybe you got him and Max Christie, right? Now it's like, okay, cool. Now we got these two guys that have emerged and have kind of separated themselves from the others. So to me, I'd rather go get the young talent that has the upside growth and potential than the guy that, than like going and getting a pick that, yes, maybe you could use as trade fodder, but it's like, okay, if you're trading most of your salary guys, like who's left? Okay, you'd have like Jared Vanderbilt, who the Lakers are shopping. Okay, could you do like Vando and something? Sure, and you'd have like 3 first, 3 pick swaps, and all this other stuff, possibly. But to me, it's like I'd rather just get the piece, and because unless a superstar comes, but even if like a superstar is available, you're going to need salary to go get that. And Zach Lavine, you're probably not going to be able to trade. And so you get my point. Like it's not like I don't know what would be feasible. Any type of trade you're probably going to get. It's probably like you're getting a Dorian Finney-Smith or something like that, right? Just using him as an example, right? You're getting somebody like that, which it's not going to cost you 3 firsts anyway. So to me, get the young guy that has shown what you'll want to see, the glimpses of upside potential, and he can play in the league, and also, pair with Zach Lavine, upgrade your roster, give you actual rotation piece, give you a piece now for the future, rather than like, oh, hey, let's get another pick, right? So to me, it's like, can you convince Chicago to throw in Ayo and then also have a guy in Zach Lavine, and now you have this real ceiling raiser. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you agree with me? Do you think like, yes, go get Ayo, go make a move for him, right? Like that would be a great piece for now and in the future, right? It's better than, potential first. Because again, I don't see the Bulls going like, oh, we'll just give you an unprotected first and we're a tanking team. Like if they're willing to do that, then yeah, you do that all day, right? Like if you get an unprotected first, right? Like I would forget all the other trades, go get that. Chicago's probably going to be bad for a while, right? So to me, like why not? But anyway, again, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Helps me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.